Welcome back to Washington Watch. I'm your host, Tony Perkins. So good to have you with us. The website, tonyperkins.com. If you're on Gab, Tony @Tony_Perkins. If you're not on Gab, you can get on Gab, gab.com. The old saying, elections have consequences, is something that Americans are waking up to every morning. Whether it was the coronavirus, the COVID-19 relief bill, nearly $2 trillion, which brings, by the way, the total of spending of the federal government, including the Federal Reserve, which has used its policies to create more money in the economy. We're talking north of $9 trillion over the last year. That's unprecedented. This, and as I was just mentioning, in this bill that passed over the weekend, we have nearly over $400 billion, which is almost $500 billion that will be going to abortion, promote abortion, Planned Parenthood, other things like that. No Hyde Amendment, no restrictions that would be on that money. This is significant. This is the first time since 1975 that they have jettisoned the bipartisan Hyde Amendment, which restricts money, tax money, going to elective abortions. That's just one example. On Friday, also, the Biden administration firing the General Counsel of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, Sharon Gustafson, who had actually been on the program before. Why did they fire her? Well, joining me now to talk about this is a former member of the Trump administration at the Department of Health and Human Services, Roger Severino. He is now a fellow over at the, well, let me see. I lost my notes here. Roger, where are you now?
Ethics and Public Policy with Ryan Anderson, the new president. It's fantastic.
That's right. I'm used to introducing you as the head of the Civil Rights Division at Health and Human Services, which you did an outstanding job. But you, too, found yourself in the same situation as Sharon, where the Biden administration asked for your resignation when these are bipartisan positions confirmed for her position for a 4-year term, which, in fact, she was asked during her confirmation, will you fulfill your whole term? And these commissions are designed, in particular the EEOC, to be bipartisan. But it looks like the Biden administration is injecting partisanship into these positions.
Yeah, Tony, I joined EPPC to continue the fight for religious liberty. And Sharon Gustafson, who's a friend of mine, is being treated so unjustly, being ridden out on a rail because she stood up for religious freedom in a crucially important independent agency. She's the general counsel of the EEOC. They're the ones who are in charge of all the litigation that touches all the hot button issues that touch on transgender issues and conscience and what pronouns you could use in the workplace. Under President Obama, it was a disaster for religious freedom. Under President Trump, it was the light finally shone. And Sharon Gustafson was one of those great bright lights. And she's being targeted for no other reason than she stood up for the side of religious freedom. That is quite a shame. This is an independent agency. It's puts lie to the Biden promise of unity when he's going after everybody to try to get rid of anybody who has stood up for religious freedom, including Sharon Gustafson, including me. I was also supposedly dismissed from an independent federal agency. And I've actually sued the president, Severino versus Biden, because I'm not going to be bullied. My appointment was for a term like Sharon Gustafson. President Trump did not dismiss Obama people who were still in midterm. But President Biden, President Unity, is doing the exact opposite. He's being as divisive as possible, and Sharon should not stand for it.
Now, Roger, this post that you were appointed to, separate from your post at the Health and Human Services, this was at the Council of Administrative Conference of the United States. And when you're approved, nominated, and confirmed for one of these posts for a set term, that's designed to keep the partisan politics out of it because you have a set term to serve. So how is it the president then can be demanding that these individuals that have been approved by Congress for a term, that they either resign or they're fired?
Well, because he doesn't respect the precedents. He is breaking precedents left and right, of course, betraying his lie of unity, because, as you said, Congress set it for a particular term precisely to grant some independence. In my case, my position is almost exclusively advisory. Give good advice on good government practices. What is President Biden afraid of? Sharon Gustafson's issue, it was designed to be an independent agency. Now, there is some debate, especially among conservative circles, as to whether or not the president should have the authority under the Constitution to be able to appoint anybody that has executive functions. That's a legitimate debate. It needs to be had. The supreme irony here is that President Biden is smashing through precedents, in essence, adopting the typical conservative view that the president has the authority under the Constitution to do this. That's one that President Trump did not exercise. Again, he did not go roughshod over these.
Well, the media would have gone crazy had he done that.
Oh, absolutely. It would have been politicization of everything and breaking through like a bullet in a china shop. But when President Biden does it, you hear nothing but crickets from the media. But that's what we come to expect.
So in this case, in this case of Sharon,
it comes to the issue of religious liberty.
Yes,
it's because of religious liberty and her stands that are strong on religious freedom in accordance with the law. After years of neglect at the EEOC, that's why she's being forced out. And
when you talk about religious freedom in the workplace, primarily that's driven by the collision between the whole agenda of the LGBTQ activist and religious freedom. And for some reason, Joe Biden is beholden to them.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. It's a very strong voting bloc, and they fund a lot of his campaign. And he's responding to the extreme portions of the left, which is a shame.
Yeah. Roger Severino, thanks so much for joining us, and glad that you're over at the EPPC.
Thank you very much, Tony.
All right, Roger Severino, Great American.